Are the Cardinals and Red Sox really talking about making another deal? And what is still sitting on my Christmas wish list? That's what we're talking on here today on the St. Louis Cardinals Daily podcast. My name is Andrew Teuscher, and yes, the Boston Red Sox, I can't tell who's initiating this. It's a will they, won't they? It's a will the Cardinals and Boston Red Sox just merge into one team called the Boston Cardinal Sox or the St. Louis Redbirds? I mean, I think that's the best option if we're doing that. Regardless, Chaim Bloom and Boston's GM is doing every single thing they can to make Boston and St. Louis just the same team altogether. It's been reported by Ken Rosenthal, and I saw this via Boston Strong on X, that the St. Louis Cardinals and Red Sox have also discussed a trade that would send infielder/outfielder Brendan Donovan to Boston. According to people briefed on the conversation, Donovan likely would play second base for the Red Sox. Folks, you can't make these things up. This came out directly after the Wilson Contreras deal happened. So this was a couple of days ago. The news has been ramping up now that the media cycle is hungry again after Christmas. And I can't say it doesn't make sense. The Boston Red Sox need more veteran hitting. They need more infield help, specifically at second base. They thought they might have had that solved, but they don't. They already brought in Wilson Contreras and Sonny Gray. Why not add another guy to the team? And this, isn't bad for the Cardinals. I don't think Chaim Bloom, based on the guys we've been shipping off and the returns we've been getting back, has any way said that Chaim Bloom's just trading guys because he's comfortable with Boston, it's easy, and it's not some sort of fair, square deal. I think it's made sense each time for both teams, and it just happens that that's where Chaim Bloom's come from. And I think I saw somebody put out a post on X, I can't remember who had it out there, that said that only two of the players that Chaim Bloom has brought in are guys he had anything to do with. So it's not, it helps that he has familiarity. I'm sure it does. It'd be silly to not think that. But man, it's getting a little bit ridiculous at this point. But hey, I'm okay with it. More buyers in the market for Brendan Donovan is only a good thing. Truly, the reports weren't wrong when they said that half of the MLB wants Brendan Donovan, if not more. Because right now, the teams that we've heard the most on potentially trading for Donovan are the Boston Red Sox now, being firmly, potentially front runners. The LA Dodgers, and you look up LA Dodger articles and search Brendan Donovan with it. The LA Dodgers media are hungry from Brendan Donovan. So if the media is driving any sort of help our way, maybe it'll get a little bit of a boost to his value. The Seattle Mariners have been the longest lasting trade partner for Brendan Donovan. It's always made sense for both teams, what we each have to offer one another. The San Francisco Giants, if we recall, in a previous video we've also talked about the Cleveland Guardians, and the Royals have been a long time stand on potentially trading for Donovan, although with some moves and extensions, maybe not so much for him there anymore, but still a team very much in on the mix for Mr. Donovan. So that's all great things for the Cardinals. We want to keep seeing this interest being driven up so the Cardinals can go out there and make some deals and get as much as they possibly can for Mr. Donovan, who, frankly, I don't want to see leave the team. I don't want that out there that I think he stinks or we need to get rid of him, like in terms of the fact that, if we don't get rid of him now, if we don't sell high, he's going to be a bum in a couple years. That's not it. He plays everywhere and he hits well no matter what's going on around him, and he's genuinely a good guy. If you want to listen to him, he popped on Redbird Rants, which is another great listen to and also has a great page to read. And he did a live stream there. Great guy, known for community service around the St. Louis area. But he's going to bring a Hall of Prospects back, and I think it makes business sense. Anyway, that kind of brings me on to what I wanted to make the core of this podcast about. Guys, Christmas came and went, and there's still some things sitting on my Christmas list. I need to get it off my chest. These are the top 3 things that I think the Cardinals need to do this offseason. These are 3 things sitting on my wish list. And number 1, on every Cardinals fan's wish list, is please trade away Nolan Arenado. Now, I know I need to start speaking more to the fan who doesn't get the rebuild, doesn't want the rebuild, as I'm not saying no one understands it and you have to be smart to get it. I should explain myself more. The Cardinals are tanking next year. Nolan Arenado is not a complete bum. He still has some value to be offered, even though he's around 35 years old. Okay? He still plays a modest third base, potentially with some flashy upside to make a good play now and then, and maybe on a contender team, he's actually more locked in to field better and hit better. But it makes no sense for a guy his age making that kind of money to still be on the Cardinals. We're going to try to find a way to ship him off. Fangraphs even projects our payroll right now to drop about $40 million before opening day, highly suggesting that the Cardinals should and will trade Nolan Arenado. So the why? Well, firstly, we owe him $52 million over the next 2 years to not do anything. We're not going to be good this year, and I'm hoping we're competing for a wild card next year. Now, shoot for the pipe dream. Weatherholt comes up, he's an MVP. Liam Doyle's up next year, and he's winning Rookie of the Year. That could happen, and we're competing for the division. That won't happen. We're going to be, at best, competing for a wild card in 27, and that's when Nolan Arenado would be on the last year of his deal. I think for his sake and our sake, it makes sense. I don't think I have to go much further into that financially. Also, it frees up space for young guys to come up. Weatherholt still needs a spot, technically, as the infield stands. Donovan, Arenado, Mason Wynn, Alec Burleson. Where does he play in that infield? We're going to move on from at least Arenado and also likely Donovan, freeing up that space, as well as Gorman and Thomas Sajaci. I'd love to see more of what those guys have. They fit our build right now way better. Teams that have been noted of being interested in Nolan Arenado or through MLB insiders have been linked to saying that they make sense. I got these names directly from an MLB.com article. Teams like the Mariners. We're chatting a lot with the Mariners and this next team, the Boston Red Sox, about all of our players, but specifically interested in Nolan Arenado. The Mariners need a third baseman. Eugenio Suarez, they brought in last year. He's now a free agent. If they don't bring him back, they already lost Jorge Polanco. They desperately need an infielder, and having a seasoned veteran with postseason experience like Nolan Arenado would not be a bad thing. We know he's good for the clubhouse. Additionally, the Boston Red Sox obviously make sense. We know the team well. They still need infield help, especially if they can't bring back Alex Bregman. The D-backs are similarly moved on from Eugenio Suarez. Thought they had a guy in Lawler that could take over at third base. Looks like it isn't going to flash there with the glove, and they might be interested. The Angels, moving on from Anthony Rendon, and the Tigers, been in on Alex Bregman. At least it makes sense that they'd also be in on veteran Nolan Arenado. Thing number 2 on my wish list is the Cardinals need to get a haul for Brendan Donovan or keep him. I want to keep this up here. I don't think we have to trade Brendan Donovan. Chaim Bloom agrees we don't have to trade Brendan Donovan, but ho, 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 Santa Claus comes knocking and asking me what I want. I want to trade Brendan Donovan for a haul. That's best case scenario. Santa, please, I'll sit on your lap and let you know, please give us a haul for Brendan Donovan. Why? He's 29 years old, and he has 2 years left to control. Very similarly to Nolan Arenado, a guy who's not going to be, he doesn't fit our build right now. Not precisely, and could be optimized if being traded elsewhere. Yes, we need good players, but we also have to maintain flexibility. And what's a better way to get flexible than bringing in multiple high-end prospects, which is what's been rumored for Brendan Donovan. Also, it frees up a logjam for the Cardinals in the infield. Of the Cardinals' top 10 prospects, 5 of them are infielders. Now, eventually some of those guys might play the outfield. Who knows? But 5 of them are infielders right now, and Donovan plays everywhere, but most specifically infield. Additionally, the other 5 guys are pitchers. So truly, we just need some outfielders. We need to free up some space in the infield. We want guys entering their primes in 27 and 28. We don't want Brendan Donovan easing out of his prime whenever we're finally ready to compete. That being said, if we can't get a haul for Brendan Donovan, a Gold Glove all-star who plays literally every position except for pitcher and catcher, then we should hold on to him because he is. I'm gonna use my own argument against me. He's 29. He's not 35 like Arenado. So it would make some sense to still hold on to him, have a great clubhouse guy and a guy that can help coach guys up as they come to the big leagues. So I'm only trading Brendan Donovan if we get an absolute haul. It's not like Nolan Arenado. Arenado, we just need gone. We need to push that money out. We need to push the player out to free up space. Donovan is not quite the same case. What I want back in return for Brendan Donovan, what's a haul? Multiple top 10 prospects from a team or a big league ready hitter who's ready to come in, is still entering his prime, hasn't gotten there yet, and is ready to contribute when we're ready to win. Specifically, since we've been talking about the Boston Red Sox, a guy, Tristan Casas, is a dude I'd hope we were going to bring back for the Wilson Contreras deal. It would have made a ton of sense, especially as they just brought in Contreras to go play first base. Casas is probably a first baseman, a DH. Maybe he can learn some outfield, but the dude has pop. He has a career 800 OPS. That's something I want in on when I think he's turning 26 this year, 25 or 26. That would be a great piece to come back for Donovan, a guy who's struggled with injuries. They're frustrated, over there in Boston. Imagine how we felt about guys like Dylan Carlson and Tyler O'Neill in recent years, who showed so much flash. Tyler O'Neill had a better season than Tristan Casas has ever had, and we ended up getting rid of him. So I think it would make sense that the Red Sox would send over Casas, and why we'd want to try out Casas. As Burleson, although I don't want to see him in the outfield anymore, he could also go out and play the outfield. I think it makes a lot of sense. It's a name I haven't mentioned. Teams like the Mariners, we've already mentioned top prospects like Colt Emerson, Lazaro Montes, an outfielder would make a lot of sense for us. They have great pitchers like Cade Anderson, Gerangelo Sinja, and a guy who would make a ton of sense is Bryce Miller, a pitcher who's ready to come in, compete, help us win this very year. So getting a haul for Donnie would make a ton of sense for the Redbirds. And obviously the other teams that are in, I have lots of players. I can't go into all of them. Too many teams want Brendan Donovan, and that is an excellent thing. The last thing I want the Cardinals to get, Santa, please scurry down my chimney tonight and bring me a veteran with some pop, preferably an outfielder, kind of like the guys we talked about last episode. We want to bring in a dude with a little bit of experience, because if we trade away Brendan Donovan and Nolan Arenado, the oldest hitter on our team, got it off the top of your head, Lars Nootbaar. That dude still feels young to me because he's only 28 years old. He's still in his prime. We could use a little bit of veteran guidance, a little bit of veteran help, because if that's the oldest guy, a lot of the guys are younger, and we're hoping what we're excited about is the guys coming up. So the team's only getting younger. It would be helpful to add a veteran who knows what they're doing, who can help with the clubhouse. I think they would make a lot of sense. For the veteran coming in, would give you play time, and for us to, because our outfield does not have any sort of logjam to it. Now, ideally, it's a righty, but I have a lefty in mind. Now, the righty I'm mostly wanting is Miguel Andujar. It's a guy who has shown in a couple years with the Yankees that he has real pop, that he has real potential. Again, he had that 27 home run season with the Yanks in 2018, and ever since has been in some weird skid with injuries and going up and down and never finding his footing again. But he bounced back last year with an 822 OPS through 94 games. He had just 10 home runs, but he killed lefties, which is desperately what we need on top of just a veteran bat with some pop. It would make a ton of sense. Play some outfield, play some DH, let him play just on a one-year deal for very little. There's no such bad thing as a bad one-year deal. And then we can trade him or keep him through the end of the year if we get some upside going. Another guy I've mentioned previously, I'm less into Austin Hayes. Makes sense. Righty, veteran with pop. You can look at last episode to get more on that one. But another outfielder I think would make a lot of sense if we're going to go the left-handed hitter route. You guys remember Jesse Winker? That was a guy for at least 1 year that the Cardinals were terrified to pitch to. I think he was a Cardinal hitter. I should have pulled up those numbers, but he was a Cardinal killer for a little while, I'm pretty sure. He's only 32. So he'd be a guy who could come in, a veteran, a guy who was highly touted in the Reds prospect pool, came up, had a great year, had a phenomenal year, has a career splits of 266, 366 on base, and a 436 slug. A weighted runs created plus of 120, meaning he's 20% above average, and it looks like he could sign just a one-year deal. I would love to bring that in. A guy with a little bit of pop, never had a 30 home run season, but he's clearly a decent hitter on his career average, and he's put up decent numbers in individual seasons. I'd love a Jesse Winker playing for our ball club, especially if we trade away a Lars Nootbaar and a lefty outfielder. He could easily take that place. But we'll talk more about more moves as they come in. Hopefully Santa comes through in the offseason, because you already missed me on Christmas. We'll meet up, Santa. Thanks for tuning in to the St. Louis Cardinals Daily Podcast again. My name is Andrew Teuscher. We'll keep covering your Redbirds every single day.